The grand halls of the Nexus station gleamed with bioluminescent panels, casting ethereal light across delegates from 100 worlds. Among them, Princess Anna of the Celestial Dominion stood apart, literally and figuratively. Her crystalline skin refracted light into rainbow patterns, and her 4 graceful arms moved with practiced elegance as she conversed with ambassadors and dignitaries. She was, by all accounts, the most sought-after individual on the station. Everyone wanted her attention. Everyone except Roma. The human engineer kept to the lower decks, preferring the honest company of reactor cores and navigation arrays to the political theater above. When maintenance required his presence in the diplomatic sectors, he moved through corridors like a shadow, tools in hand, eyes down. If he spotted Anna's distinctive shimmer approaching, he'd find another route. It wasn't personal. At least, that's what Roma told himself. Anna noticed, of course. In a galaxy where beings competed for mere moments of her time, where suitors traveled light years just to glimpse her, one human's systematic avoidance stood out like a dark star against a bright nebula. At first, she dismissed it. Then it intrigued her. Finally, it obsessed her. The human engineer, she asked her advisor, a multi-tentacled scholar named Varix, the one called Roma. Why does he flee from me? Varix's eye stalks swiveled uncertainly. Perhaps he fears your station, your radiance. Humans are a young species. He may feel inadequate. No. Anna's voice carried the certainty of someone who'd spent centuries reading people across species barriers. Fear would make him freeze, stammer, or flatter. He simply chooses not to engage. Why? The question haunted her through diplomatic banquets and treaty negotiations. She'd commanded fleets, negotiated peace between warring systems, and held the fate of billions in her elegant hands. Yet she couldn't understand one human's indifference. Finally, she cornered him. Roma was calibrating a plasma conduit in a rarely used observation deck when he sensed her presence. The air seemed to hum with the energy her people naturally radiated. He didn't turn around. "Engineer Roma?" Her melodious voice filled the space. "Why do you avoid me?" His hands stilled on the calibration tool. For a long moment, he didn't respond. Then slowly, he set down his equipment and turned to face her. "Your Highness," he said simply, a statement, not a greeting. Anna floated closer, her form barely touching the deck plating. "I have asked you a question. In all the galaxy, you alone treat me as if I were invisible. Explain this to me." Roma met her luminous eyes, all 3 of them, without flinching. "You want the truth? I demand it." He gestured toward the observation window, where stars stretched into infinity. "How old are you, Princess?" She blinked, confused by the deflection. "I am 847 of your years. Young for my kind, but... And you'll live how much longer? Barring accident, another 12,000 years, perhaps more with medical advances." Pride crept into her voice. "My people are blessed with..." "I'm 32, Roma interrupted quietly. "If I'm lucky, I might see 80, maybe 90 if I avoid the hazards of this job." He turned back to the stars. "You asked why I avoid you." "Yes. Because, Your Highness, I learned long ago not to stare at the sun." Silence stretched between them. Anna's luminescence dimmed slightly, a sign of confusion among her people. Roma continued, his voice soft but steady. "Do you know what happens when humans meet someone like you? Someone beautiful, brilliant, powerful, someone who'll outlive us by millennia? We do one of 2 things. Either we worship you, make you our entire world, knowing that to you, we're just a brief moment, a shooting star you might remember fondly in 10,000 years." He picked up a small tool, examining it. "Or we pretend you don't exist. We avoid looking directly at you because if we don't, we might forget that we're temporary, that our whole lives, our struggles, our joys, our heartbreaks are barely a footnote in your existence." That's not, Anna started. Your advisor Varix? Roma interrupted. He's served your family for 6 generations of my people. To him, individual humans must blur together like days in a year. How could they not? Anna's crystalline features shifted, an emotion Roma couldn't read rippling across them. You think I see you as insignificant? She asked, her voice smaller than before. I think you can't help it, Roma said, not unkindly. It's not cruelty, it's just math. You asked why I avoid you. It's because every conversation we have, every moment I spend in your presence, I'm aware of what I am to you. A mayfly, a spark, here and gone. He finally looked at her directly. And I've learned that it's easier to be a spark that never ignites than one that burns bright knowing it'll be forgotten. Anna stood motionless. In 847 years, she'd heard countless speeches, declarations, poems. She'd been worshipped, desired, feared, and admired. But no one had ever spoken to her like this. No one had ever made her feel the weight of her own immortality as a burden rather than a gift. You're wrong, she whispered. Roma raised an eyebrow. I remember them, she continued, her voice gaining strength. Every human who worked on my first ship, every delegate who negotiated with honesty instead of flattery, every brief encounter that taught me something new. Her light intensified. Your lives are not footnotes, Roma. They're entire books that we immortals read too quickly. The tragedy isn't that you're temporary. It's that we have forever to miss you, and you have so little time to know you mattered. Now it was Roma's turn to fall silent. Anna drifted closer. You avoid me because you think you're forgettable. I sought you out because in a galaxy of people desperate to be remembered, you're the only one who assumed you wouldn't be. She extended one crystalline hand. Perhaps we're both wrong about each other. Roma looked at her outstretched hand, then at her face, where something ancient and lonely flickered in those ageless eyes. Slowly, he reached out and took it. Her touch was cool, like starlight made solid. Perhaps we are, he said softly. And in that moment, in an observation deck at the edge of known space, an immortal princess and a human engineer discovered that sometimes the greatest distance isn't measured in years, but in assumptions never questioned.